Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football. Hello and welcome to another Attacking Football podcast. This week, joining me, making his second appearance, we have Jamie. How you doing, mate?
I'm really good, mate. How are we doing today?
Living the dream. We've got the United game going on somewhere, but we're not watching it. Scott is our other panelist. Scott, welcome back. You are like part of the furniture, mate. It's good to have you, mate. And as ever, we have in the studio producer Alfie. How you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Listen, before we start, we've had a letter. Someone's written into the podcast and they said, "We really like your podcast. It's really informative, but will you please stop eating because it's really distracting." Anyway, Mark, this one's for you. Thank you very much. I'm going to keep eating.
What are you enjoying today, Ole?
I'm enjoying a Cadbury's brunch bar.
Oh,
Other
lovely.
brunch bars are available. I shouldn't have taken a big mouthful. Sorry, Mark. Okay, this week we are doing the managerial merry-go-round. This summer, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, potentially up to 15 clubs looking for a new manager. I think there are far too many managers out of work at the moment, and not
Far
enough
too many
clubs to go
quality
around.
managers.
Yeah.
Very quality managers.
So the depth of them, every single coach has got its merits. The only one I can't really see is like Allegri and maybe Jose. Every other coach seems to be really, really promising. Really employable.
we're going to put a graphic up on the screen. So there, of all of the managers currently or about to be looking for work this summer. So I'm going to go down the list. We've got Thomas Tuchel, although CF Bayern on Twitter has said that Bayern Munich are potentially in talks to let Tuchel stay this summer. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
He is very, very reliable for German football, and obviously considering the name he chose for his Twitter handle, very good with Bayern news. Can you see that happening?
I think they want him to stay, but I think the difference between like Barca and Xavi and like Xavi staying is that there's been so much like corrosive dialogue between the two, like publicly. Like, it's not been like that's a political way of saying it, but it's been chatting a lot, not exactly in a positive way. I just can't see that relationship being repairable.
So
Yeah.
you said then they want him to stay.
I do think they want him to stay. I think they've gone
They-
down their list. They
they've
can't
said
get anyone. They've gone back to
Publicly, many, many times they don't want him to
Yeah,
stay. I don't
exactly.
think they want him to stay. I think they just have no other choice.
Yeah, I think in the case of Tuchel, it's going to be like he knows a few results slip and they're going to look to get rid of him again. And
Yeah.
that's not really pressure you want to have on your manager.
No, I think Tuchel walks, if anything.
Yeah.
It's just not a good environment to work in.
It never has been. Karl-Heinz Rummenigge has never, ever been a decent human being, really. Let alone a good. What's his official job title? Is he managing director?
There's managing director of football,
Yeah,
sporting
something.
executive, like all merged into one. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next on the list, we've got Frank Lampard.
I love Lamps.
As a footballer, yes. As a
I
manager,
have
no.
a lot of love for Frank Lampard,
I have a funny, sneaking suspicion his win percentage is less than 40%.
and I think I'll probably agree with you.
See,
To
but
be
on,
honest.
but on that, I do have to say, like, in that first season he had at Chelsea, they had a transfer ban. They couldn't sign any players. They
Yeah.
just lost Eden Hazard, and he got them Champions League football in his first season as a Premier League manager, and they were playing good football as well. I think maybe the pressure to push on after Fort was where the pressure really started to mount on him, and then I think I can't really judge him on his time at Everton because they've been a club that have
So,
had troubles for years, and he was that squad was terrible.
Okay,
He made the
Eric Ten
best out of a
Hag.
bad bunch.
Eric Ten Hag got Champions League football last season, and he's definitely not getting it this season. Is he a good manager? Does he deserve damned fake praise?
I think that's a really difficult comparison. How long has Lampard been coaching for compared to Ten Hag?
Yeah,
Ten Hag's got what, easily 10 plus years under his belt. Lampard has been thrown into two really sticky situations in Derby,
Yeah.
where all that financial pressure crumbled. A really tricky situation at Chelsea with a transfer ban, Everton, fine at the time, they would like their market was okay and they weren't financially irresponsible, but they were still a club that was under that pressure. And like, do you remember like Lampard transforming Iwobi? He made this lovely little eight, and just he was really fantastic. So I think it's quite difficult to judge to compare the two.
And he got Derby into the playoff finals, even if they ended up losing.
No, I think he's a great man manager. Sorry, I hate the misuse of the word great. I think he's a good man manager. I just don't think he's a very good club manager. I don't think he's good at signings. I don't think his talent idea is great. Yeah. I don't think he's tactically as well educated as a lot of other coaches.
I'd have him as the England coach.
As
what?
What? Genuinely?
I can't.
I'm standing by that statement.
I suppose
Jamie.
LA, based on everything you've just said, that actually kind of makes sense.
Well, yeah, it
because
does.
Because if he's bad at signings, he can't make signings.
Only on your own logic.
I also said that he's tactically very naive. You can't go into tournament football with a naive tactical coach.
We're doing that at the moment. He's not naive whatsoever. A naive coach does not do that well with Chelsea under a transfer ban.
You just said that.
I disagree.
I want to come back to you saying that Lampard doesn't have talent idea. Has he been at a club where he's been able to showcase that?
Yeah.
I feel like at Chelsea, all the signings have been done by backroom staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott, I think it's a very valid point, but I'm generally quite firm. I would have Lampard over Southgate 100 times over.
Alfie?
If as an England fan, I love it watching England football. I love the tournaments. I love the friendlies. Genuinely, I love the lot. If Frank Lampard was the England manager, I think I would genuinely retire myself from watching international football. I'd stay in bed and I'd go to sleep. I couldn't imagine playing Brazil in a World Cup or France in a Euros, and our gaffer is Frank Lampard.
And you're happier with Gareth Southgate as the coach?
No.
Well, you're not retiring, are you?
You can't say, well, I really don't like being punched in the face, so punch me in the balls instead. you don't have to replace shit with shit. There are good coaches out there, very, very good coaches you could take as an England manager, but that's not the subject of the podcast. Alfie, give us those stats, please, on Lampard's managerial career.
Yeah. So I know that at Everton his win percentage is 33%. I can show you his average points. I couldn't find his actual win percentage, but at Derby at the start, 1.6 points per game. Then he went to Chelsea, 1.8. Everton, he was averaging a point a game. And then he went to Chelsea, which obviously is a caretaker for a few months, and averaged 0.5 points per game.
Right, so if we want to draw every game at the next Euros, he's the coach. Fabulous.
Shall we move on?
Right.
Shall we move on, please?
Are you admitting defeat, mate?
I'm not admitting defeat, but I have a sense I'm outnumbered here, so I think we can quite swiftly move on, please.
Okay. Next is Jose Mourinho.
The special himself.
Now, I saw a stat on points per game. Actually, funny that you mention it. Since he left Chelsea, since he left Real Madrid, his points per game has gone down with every club that he's been at.
Seriously?
Yeah. At Real Madrid, I think it was 2.16, and then it went down to 1.96, or season by season rather, and then it went down again when he went to Italy, so on and so forth, and it's just gone progressively further and further down. He's becoming the forgotten man of managerial football, I think.
I think Jose Mourinho would take international football by storm.
I believe you are right. Yes, I would 100% agree with you.
So you say right now,
take a Portugal job.
Would you have him as an England? Well, speaking about England, would you have him as the England coach or not?
Tomorrow.
Would you?
All day long.
Yep. 100%. He is proven at managing massive egos. He wins trophies. He is a elite man manager. He is an elite man manager.
Hasn't Mourinho famously lost the dressing room at nearly every club he's been to?
No, he famously lost Luke Shaw when he said he had to think for him on the touchline. Luke Shaw, I had to use Luke Shaw's body and my brain, is what he said. I don't think he did. I don't think he covered himself in glory there. But he never lost Chelsea dressing room either time. Either time he managed that.
I swear he did, because he was throwing swings around at players at the end of his career, both them stints.
they wouldn't have taken it back if he'd lost the dressing room. He never lost the Real Madrid dressing room. He fell out with Florentino Perez.
I swear at the end of his first and second Chelsea stints, when it was going bad, he was throwing swings and digs at players in post-match interviews.
I thought
But he does that when he has the dressing room. Well, never mind when he's lost it. He did that with Inter Milan as well. He's just the way that he is.
It's just his personality. He's a very, very charismatic, but also very abrasive man, and he says what's on his mind.
Yeah,
what's on his mind.
I agree. He's not a Jose Mourinho. He's not going to go. He's not a Pep Guardiola. He's not going to go cuddle his players and take them out for dinner and woo them over candlelight. He's not that guy.
Pep recently said that Stefan Ortega is one of the best goalkeepers in the world at one-on-one in an interview recently. So can't get much farther apart than Jose than that.
Does Jose Mourinho deserve a big job? Because every club, he's kind of going down the list now. He went. He went Porto, Chelsea. He went. Inter. Did he go to Real Madrid from there, or Inter from there?
Inter Milan, then Real Madrid. Yeah.
Then he went to Manchester United. Then he went back to Chelsea. He went to Manchester United, and he went to. Did he go to Roma after that?
Tottenham, then Roma.
Spurs. Did he do Spurs before Man United or after?
After. Spurs after.
And then Roma, and now he's been out of work for a little while.
Yeah.
Does he deserve a shot at another big club?
See, deserves. I think he has. I think whether or not his points per game has been going down or points per season has been going down, I still think he's a top manager, and he probably deserves. But I'm just looking at the teams like who would take him, because I don't think any of the clubs he's already been at would take him back. And then looking at this list of teams, Bayern won't take him. Juventus, maybe. Napoli, maybe. AC Milan, maybe.
No, AC wouldn't take him after managing Inter.
Oh, but they've signed players from Inter before that have played for Inter.
It's different with the manager, isn't it? Ajax have got a manager now. Ajax. So you've got Torino. It's all Italian clubs. 1, 2, 3. 4.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Yeah.
Six Italian clubs, and then you've got Bayern, Nice, and Ajax.
I think that's probably because I think the Italian season has ended. I think. Or
no,
is there another week left?
No, but I think a lot of those clubs, their managers out of contract.
Yeah.
There may be some renewals in there. We don't know, and we know for certain that Napoli and Juventus are going to have a new manager next summer. Fiorentina possibly as well. Don't know about AC, but
Bologna as well, with Motta leaving.
Yeah, Motta's leaving. Where's Motta going? Is he going to?
We don't know, but
there was rumours Juventus, weren't there?
The rumours very heavily suggest Juventus, very heavy. Now that Allegri's left as well, it just seems it's a very natural progression, I feel.
Okay. I don't know if I see him ending up at any of those clubs. I suppose that the most natural one for him to go to would be Bayern Munich, but again, he's too big a personality for Rummenigge, I think. You've got to be so careful saying his name.
I've been listening to you all like,
Yeah, I think he's too big a personality. I think he likes a coach that he can kind of push around a little bit. But okay. Next on our list is Graham Potter. Now, we deliberately haven't included Manchester United in our list of clubs, rather, looking for a new manager, because at the end of the day, we don't know. None of us know. It is one of the most wonderful things that has happened since Ineos took over the club is suddenly information isn't being bandied about like sweets. We don't really know what's going on, and I like it. But there is no getting away from the fact that all of the reports coming out of the press are that Graham Potter is probably the leading candidate to take over at Old Trafford, especially after he turned down the Ajax job. Is there some fire to go with that smoke?
I think there has to be. I think looking at it about like the structure, like we've heard all about the entire time, the Ineos structure. Yeah. The whole idea it's going to be a coach. That is a setup which Potter has proven he can thrive in. Mm-hmm. And I think especially like we've got Dan Ashworth coming in, Jason Wilcox, all these names have either been around or very aware of Potter. We know that Potter held talks with like Ineos back in December or something. I remember reading about that.
Before they took over the club.
Before they took over. So there is an intention, I feel, to look at Graham Potter. I think he's a very, very, very strong candidate for it.
I think the meeting with Graham Potter is, again, one of the things I like the most about the new operational structure at United, is they have contingency plans for their contingency plans. If, for whatever reason, something didn't work out with Erik ten Hag, they wanted to make sure that they were ahead of the game with any move that they had to make. Dave Brailsford is famous for it with his cycling setups. He had a plan for everything. I adopt some of Dave Brailsford's qualities into my own work. He has a theory of marginal gain, and it's one of my favourite things in the world. But that's, again, another thing that they'll like about Graham Potter. Graham Potter very much buys into that philosophy.
And like the marginal gain, like you look at the way Potter's bright, and I'm going to ignore his Chelsea stints just due to the conditions he was working in.
Yeah, so.
But the whole sort of like switching systems, switching formations constantly, just to give themselves the edge over the opposition. Like he could communicate his ideas to the players. Communication, marginal gain, two of the really big things Ineos are going for. Potter ticks both those boxes so easily. I think that's probably why he is the leading candidate, and why I wouldn't mind him ending up at United.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind him ending up as the England manager either.
True.
Since that seems to be the way that we're judging all of the managers that are available.
What about the Ireland job, guys? What about the Ireland job? That's still up for debate.
I think Jose Mourinho would do a really good job with the Ireland squad.
Oh, we can't afford Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We're not affording Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, maybe he'll do it for free. Okay, I don't think there are really any other clubs that are probably going to be of interest to Graham Potter. I mean,
perhaps maybe another Premier League team if another few switch up their manager after the end of the season.
You know, there is a world where De Zerbi ends up going to Bayern Munich and Potter goes back to Brighton.
I could see that.
Yeah.
There is a world where that happens.
Would Potter go back there?
Would the fans want Potter back?
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about.
It fell out a bit towards the end.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of hate towards him after he left.
I mean, he chose a bigger club, right? But I think if he went back there, I think they'd forget that pretty quickly. If he goes back there and performs, they'll forget it pretty quickly. Yeah. Fans are fickle. We're all fickle. We love success and we'll laud it when it happens. But okay, let's move on to our next manager on the list, Hansi Flick. Now, he is one of the 247 managers to have turned down the Bayern Munich job this summer.
The list is staggeringly long, isn't it?
It is obnoxiously long.
Yeah.
It is embarrassingly long. For a team who were in the quarterfinals of the semi-finals of the Champions League, and they are being turned down by managers. That's not a good look, is it?
No, it's not.
Hansi Flick turned it down because was it Rummenigge again?
I'm not too sure.
He didn't want to work in the system.
Alfie, do you know why?
I'm not too sure, but I think you are right. I think that's what it's been with most managers. I think no.
Would you just have a look at that for us, Alfie? See if you can find some reports on that. Because I remember reading it somewhere, but I might be wrong. Because they've had so many managers turn them down for a myriad of different reasons. I could be mixing them up. Scott, do you rate Hansi? Do you rate him as a manager?
Honestly, I don't know too much about him. In all honesty, like he was managing Germany, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he underperformed with Germany, didn't he?
I think a lot of managers have underperformed with Germany. To be perfectly honest, I think Nagelsmann's underperformed with Germany.
Yeah, but has Nagelsmann really had an opportunity to showcase? Well, he was the manager of the World Cup. I don't think so, was he?
He was.
Was he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, fair enough. But I think I back Germany to go to the final or even the semi-finals in the Euros.
They have the squad to do so, whether they will or not.
And they have home advantage.
Is a different matter. Yeah. But I think Hansi Flick will probably not take a job this summer.
No, I don't
I'm putting
think so.
my money anyway. I think he doesn't take a job.
I think his stock's too low. he reminds me of like Zidane in a sense that he is tactically not a genius. He's not a Pep
Okay.
Guardiola, but he knows
Yeah.
how to profile his players. Look what he did at Bayern. He had a wonderful side at his disposal and he used it brilliantly.
He did.
And I think his stock is at an all-time low right now. And all the other clubs really aren't that case. Towards maybe one of the Italian clubs. You could see a Napoli or a Milan getting quite desperate, maybe. But I don't. I agree with you. I think Flick will be staying on the market this summer as a free agent.
I've just noticed
I
there that
think-
Flick managed Bayern before already.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was the manager when
he
they won
was
the
very
Champions League.
successful. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
what-
He's an
they
incredibly
won-
successful
They
manager.
won 6 trophies under him, I think, in a
Yeah,
year.
he's
They did. He
fantastic
is.
manager.
He won more trophies in a season than any other Bayern manager in history.
And
He won everything.
Was the reason, did they sack him or did he leave to take the Germany job?
I honestly don't know.
I don't know. Alfie?
But so I'm trying to find this Hansi Flick. I don't. It seems like no one knows. I mean, CF Bayern, who was talking about earlier, Christian Falk just said all he said is Hansi Flick is no longer a candidate at the moment, and everyone's asking why, but no one's got back to them.
Okay. That's interesting.
I've just noticed there. Nagelsmann wasn't the manager at the World Cup. It was Flick.
Was it Hansi Flick?
Nagelsmann only
Yeah,
took
it was.
over in 2023. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Well, either way, I think there's possibly a Real Madrid job waiting for Hansi Flick when Ancelotti goes.
That will be Xabi Alonso.
I don't know.
I think
so.
Alonso's waiting for Real Madrid. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I do agree. I think I agree. I think Alonso. I think his next job will be Real Madrid. I think
Xabi Alonso, just his, I hate using the word, but his aura, his accomplishments this season, everything about him screams legacy. It screams Madrid. It screams he is built for that. He is built for that club. I truly
I'll be
believe
honest,
it.
I completely forgot about Xabi Alonso. So, yeah, I think you might be right. Let's move swiftly along to someone who, again, I believe will go this summer without taking a job. If he does take a job, I don't think it'll be a major one, and it's Antonio Conte.
Yeah, I think he's got a bit under the radar recently. I haven't heard a lot about him. I haven't heard of any teams interested in him. I don't know about you lot, but
I know Milan and Napoli are looking at him. Juventus are keen to an extent. They've had several stints with Conte. I don't think they're all too keen to have him back. But Napoli and Milan are certainly looking at him. But apart from that, I think he should go back to Chelsea. I think he is the man for that Chelsea squad.
wow.
If Poch leaves, I think he's Poch. If you like, Poch has been so cagey in press conferences. I think there's a genuine chance that he leaves at the end of the summer, and I think Conte would be the man.
You mean he
to
leaves or they boot him out?
Sorry, no. I think he could be sacked.
You think
at the
Poch
end of
could
the
be
season.
sacked?
Yeah, he could be.
Not with the way his team's
I don't think
performing at
so.
the moment. He's really getting the best out of them at the moment.
He is getting the best out of them. I do believe he should stay, but just the way he's been in press conferences, it sort of leads me to believe there's a chance he could leave.
Oh, there's always a chance. With,
Yes,
with
no,
Todd,
I know,
with
but-
Todd Foley steering the
Yeah.
ship, there's a chance of anything. Fuck it, they could hire Madonna next week. It literally could. Sorry for those of you who are not of age. Madonna was a pop star back in my day. There's a chance that could happen. I really don't think so. I think Todd Bowley is a clever enough businessman to know that he's probably done enough tinkering over the last 3 or 4 years that maybe some stability is the way forward.
Yeah.
And the players are responding to it. The only one that isn't is Enzo Fernandez, but I mean that'll come. Is Rudi Garcia available this summer? Because I know he's on our list.
He's not
Yeah,
a coach I'm familiar with, unfortunately.
He
Not
was
too
he was
sure.
at Al Nassr and then he got sacked and was at Napoli last, but he was sacked
Yeah.
in he was there from July to November and then got the sack. So he's been out of a job for what, around 7 months now, probably around that.
Yeah.
Not even heard an inkling about him. Anyway,
I mean, he hasn't really done much since his time at Lille.
No.
He won the league with Lille in 2011. But other than that, he hasn't
did.
really gone on to do much.
Okay. Steve Cooper's on our list.
he's a very interesting manager, I feel.
I'm the same. I'm the same with Steve Cooper because he just got sacked, and Nottingham Forest fans were not too pleased with it, were
They
they?
weren't
Most of
happy
them-
at all. They
And
were
then
not happy.
people thought he's going to get a job somewhere now. He'll get a job quickly, and he obviously hasn't got a job since. And I haven't heard of anyone interested, or maybe it's him wanting to take time out?
I think he ends up taking a job in either Cardiff or Swansea. I think he'll end up with one of those jobs.
Yeah.
See, do you know what I think happens? I think he takes the job of the first team next season, the sack their manager in the Premier League.
Do you think
Yeah.
so?
From any team,
That's my bold shout.
So he takes the Forest job.
Maybe, yeah.
Reckon.
Or
What,
even-
he's back? Do you reckon he goes back to Forest?
Maybe. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Gennaro Gattuso. I believe AC are looking at Gattuso.
Yes, they are. They are.
That is an interesting one. He is obviously a legend of that club.
Mm.
Historically, legends of the clubs don't necessarily make decent managers.
What's all these clubs going back for managers that already managed the club?
I know.
Because he was AC Milan man from 2017, 2019.
Yeah.
And as far from what I remember, it wasn't a great time.
No, I mean, it is a specifically Italian thing that they almost, I mean, it's the managerial merry-go-round. They almost have a physical merry-go-round that they just get off
Yeah, they
and
do.
go on again. I think Conte's managed the same club in Italy 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, Juve a couple times.
Ancelotti's managed a couple. I think he's managed AC Milan twice.
Mm-hmm.
I might be wrong on that. I think he has. Allegri's
on Juve twice.
Yep.
I think. Yeah, he's done it twice.
Yeah. There's quite a few. Maurizio Sarri.
Maurizio Sarri, yeah.
Yeah. Was he? Where did he join Chelsea from? Was it Juve?
Napoli.
No, he joined
Napoli.
from Napoli, Chelsea, Juventus, and then he was last at Lazio, and he was there for around 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, he's another one that's available this summer.
But again, I think he's someone who's been talking about, like Klopp talking about burnout. I think Sarri's done a lot over the last 7-8 years. I could see him taking an off summer at the moment.
So he could be available providing he hasn't smoked himself into a grave.
Yeah.
Because that's, again, a real possibility. The man smokes 55,000 cigarettes a day.
He's got Shelby.
Yeah, maybe. Laurent Blanc?
I actually don't know much about Blanc as a manager.
Neither do I.
He did really well with France.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. He
When
did
was
well
that?
with France.
2010 to 2012. he
Oh,
was there,
fine.
Yeah.
and he went straight to PSG. Oh, I say
Yeah.
straight. It was a year after.
Yeah, and he did well with PSG as well. He was, for a time, tipped for the United job. Obviously, he's a former
Yeah.
United
Yeah, he is.
centre-back. And I think he is an underrated coach. I like Laurent Blanc. He's smart. He's savvy. He's a really good savvy manager.
Pragmatic. Or
He's central. He's a centre back. So
Oh,
yeah,
so naturally, yeah.
so naturally quite a defensive coach. But
I always find that
defensive-
interesting.
Defensive doesn't always mean bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Conte's
A prime example of it, isn't
a
it?
prime example
Yeah.
of that. But okay, we're going to go on to a manager that I do not know an awful lot about. It's Fernando Santos.
I know even less probably about Fernando Santos.
And I'm going to go further and say who.
Now, bearing in mind, I think Alfie, our producer, compiled this list. So,
Yeah,
Alfie, can you give us a bit of context?
Bit of
I'm
insight.
so surprised you don't know Fernando Santos. Sorry, he was at Portugal for 8 years. From
Oh, was he
2000
he's the Portuguese?
Yeah, he won
Yes.
the Euros.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He won the Euros. He was there for 8 years from 2014 to 2022.
Mm.
Realistically, he hasn't been really anywhere. Obviously, he has, but he's been more of Portugal. He managed Porto, he managed Sporting, and he managed Benfica. So he done the treble. He managed Portugal, but since he's managed Poland and then Besiktas as of late. But he got the sack.
He seems
He got
to be more
sacked
of
from
an
Besiktas.
international manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last 3 jobs he's been sacked from, so it's not the best, really, is it?
Okay. Well, look, he's an option for somebody out there.
Potential Irish manager, maybe, Scott?
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe.
if we can afford him. What's he looking at?
Do we need to have a whip ranked?
Yeah, can we start? Shall we start a GoFundMe page for the FAI?
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Okay. Here's an interesting one. Ruud van Nistelrooy. Now, Ruud left PSV Eindhoven under a bit of a storm, didn't he?
Yes.
He walked out of the club because he wasn't happy with the board and has not been back into management since. He did well at PSV.
He is a fantastic manager. I think he's the smartest manager on this list.
That's bold.
I think when it comes to, if you look at his career path, I remember reading an interview which I think Andy Mitten covered. He's so strategic about where he goes next, which is why I think if he goes anywhere this summer, he goes to Nice. But like he started off as like Nice, yeah.
Okay.
Because he started off as the Dutch assistant manager. He went to a few other clubs before going back there. He was the PSV assist or under 21s manager. Turned down the first team job twice until on the third time of asking he finally went. Did an absolutely brilliant season there, winning 2 trophies, and then left out of a lack of support. He's clearly a man who knows where the right job is, where the support is, and when to stay. So I think at Nice, which has already got a really good system in place, a tried and tested system, I think if any club comes calling for him, I think it should be Nice.
Well, shout out the board of directors at Nice.
Yeah.
You know what to do. Get on the phone. No, do you know what? It's a fair point. I mean, Scott, you've got him to thank for Cody Gakpo.
Yeah.
I think he did wonders with Cody.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if he's ready for the big job. So maybe Nice is the right place for him.
Yeah.
Right. He's currently in the Juventus job, but we know that he won't be in 10 days' time. So, Allegri. Does he do what all Italian coaches do and go, fine, I'll leave the San Siro, not the San Siro. Where did Juventus play?
I wish I could. I wish I could tell you LA.
What, the stadium?
Yeah.
The Allianz?
No, that's
the Allianz is Bayern Munich.
No, they're both the Allianz. But one's the Allianz.
Are they both Allianz?
Yeah, one's the Allianz Arena and one's the Allianz Stadium.
He's going to leave Juventus and rock up at Fiorentina or AC Milan, and we'll all pretend like it's not massive insider trading of some kind.
He'll take 6 months off and then go back to Juventus after they sack their next manager.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're into the final four, and then we'll do a bit of a recap. Zinedine Zidane. Now, this is going to be a hot take for a man that three-peated the Champions League. I don't think he's that good of a manager.
Why? I hear this so much. Please, LA, why? I would love to hear your reasoning.
He managed the Real Madrid B team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Badly. They were horrendous. He took over Real Madrid at a time of, I think, was it Jose Mourinho that left?
Ancelotti.
Was it Ancelotti?
Because he was Ancelotti's assistant.
Yeah.
Yes. So when Ancelotti left, Zidane took over, and he took over probably one of the greatest club sides that we have ever seen in world football history. Yeah. And he didn't do an awful lot with that club. He had prime Ronaldo, he had prime Modric, prime Kroos, prime Benzema, prime Bale, prime Ramos, prime Varane, prime Marcelo. He had literally the best squad in world football.
LA, that's ludicrous. You can say about any of the great sides. You can say that about any of the great sides. Go look at Pep's sides, Barcelona.
He built those sides. He signed the players that he required. He did not do that at Real Madrid.
We're not asking... A coach is more than just signing and picking out the great players and talent ID. It's more than just that. Pep's City is built around his higher-up signing players for him. But, like, Pep has never done a three-peat of a Champions League.
No, he hasn't. It's a difficult competition to win.
Zidane has. It's the same point I made with Flick earlier. He is incredible at taking these brilliant players and getting every last drop of divine magic out of them. He is superb at that. And at any top-tier club, he's the man you have to call first.
See, for me, based on just recent years and Zidane just turning down every job that's coming from, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he just doesn't want to manage anymore.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't even seem like he wants to get back into it.
He wants the French job, doesn't he?
Yeah, unless he's waiting for that French job.
Mm.
But I mean, if the French manager does if Deschamps does well in the Euros again,
you could say
that's probably another few years that Zidane's going to have to be waiting for that job.
Yeah, I think it's up to Deschamps, really, isn't it? I can't see him getting sacked.
No, he'll leave when
the only way to get sacked is if France
leave.
get grouped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get groups. I never thought I'd hear that word as a verb. Okay, fine.
Wait, so LA, about Zidane,
Yeah,
so
let's
you
go.
wouldn't take Zidane at United?
No.
I wouldn't either. I think Zidane's a manager who needs to come into a already made club already.
Correct.
But at the same time, though, we haven't seen him in a club where that's something he
No,
has to do.
we
So
haven't.
I think it's an unfair thing to say, but I think just based on what we've seen already, he has to be at a ready-made club.
Yeah, he's not a proven manager.
Because I think I agree with Scott. I think, and you to an extent, LA. I think right now
Good.
Zidane is a bigger.
I was worried for a second you might not agree with me on something.
Zidane is a bigger risk right now than Graham Potter when it comes to the Manchester United job.
Alfie, can you clip that? Just that sentence.
Don't worry.
But I think that there's so much more upside with Zidane if Ineos get this summer right, and then they get the winter right, and then next summer I think the upward potential under Zidane could be. It could be we could be going to the moon and back several times over.
I stand by it. I don't think Zidane's a good manager. I would take our next candidate though back at Old Trafford, and that's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
You think my takes today have been a bit interesting when it comes to this list of all the managers available. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the best manager this at the crop this summer.
I wouldn't go so far as to agree with that.
Do you see my lot? Do you understand where I'm coming from, LS?
Yes, I think he is in probably the top 5, and I can see Scott's brain melting. It's not just Man United bias, right? I think he is a very, very good manager. I think tactically he is very, very good. A lot of people gave him a lot of stick, and I think it was a little bit unjust because they said, "Oh well, it's just special moments." Where are those special moments gone now? Then because it's the same squad. He managed to play a style of football that he felt would be best for the players he had, and that's what good managers do. Yeah. That's what Erik ten Hag is not doing now. He's trying to make the players play his system, not trying to make his system fit the players that he has. Mm-hmm. Before you go out and change the squad to bring in the players that you want, you have to play with the players you have. And you can't make them play football that they don't suit. It's not going to work. The system is easier to change than the football, right? You don't change systems in transfer windows. You have to go with what you play to the strengths that you have, right? And that's what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did really, really well. He played very quick, very transitional football. He knew he didn't have technicians in the side. He knew he didn't have possession-based players. Scott McTominay is not a possession-based player. Fred wasn't a possession-based player. He brought in Bruno Fernandes, who is probably one of the single best number 10s in world football at transitional football. He's played to that strength. Erik ten Hag is not doing that. He's playing Bruno Fernandes on the right and as a false 9, and playing him as a deep line playmaker. Kevin De Bruyne might be able to go and do those things. He could do that job because he's a very technical footballer. Bruno Fernandes is not that. He's a gunslinger. And you put your gunslinger in the 10, in the hole behind your front players. Mm-hmm. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer understood that.
True.
I think Erik ten Hag does.
I mean, I can see Scott bubbling under the surface. What do you think of the statements we made?
Hang on, before you answer, can you take off the Liverpool hat, take off the bias, and speak about him as a man?
Look, right? none of this is based on Liverpool. This was based on feelings from watching Man United under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's just I never went into a game with him as manager being like, United are going to go on and do things with him. And I think it's wild that you've said before that Zidane's not a good manager, but now you're saying that Ole is.
Yeah.
I think that's a very wild statement. I don't think Ole doesn't fill you with confidence that you're going to go on and do things at a football club.
Ole didn't have the Real Madrid side that Zidane does.
No, but I think Ole he's a transitional manager in the sense that he's a man who can come in and shift the culture, but that's all he can do. I don't think he can go on and do anything else.
So you think if he'd survived that Watford game, it was still just a matter of time, despite the fact that he was working with a board who were making signings for him, like Ronaldo.
Yeah,
for
that's
example.
what I think. Hypothetically, say he has the signings he wanted: Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham. Do you think the outcome would have been any different, Scott?
Haaland.
Yeah,
he
Haaland
brought
as well.
Haaland to the table 3 years before he was even on Borussia Dortmund's books. His talent ID is absolutely sensational.
Yeah, but
there is no getting away from that.
You could have a good talent ID, but then not being able to coach the players.
But he was able to coach the players.
I think he did coach them though.
He got them to second in the league.
Yeah, but I was in a league where Liverpool had fucking no centre backs, and there was other teams.
Listen, we didn't finish second because of you. Let's not make it all about Liverpool.
Not all about Liverpool.
Yeah.
There are other teams in the Premier League as well.
Liverpool.
And by the way, he beat you. He beat Pep. Nobody else is beating Pep consistently. Pep still has nightmares about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sides.
On a double over him, didn't he?
Twice. In fact, I think he's one of the only managers in history to have beaten Pep 3 times in a season.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So do you think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a better manager than Zinedine Zidane?
I think he's a better manager, yes. Better coach, maybe not. Better manager, yes.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think he's a better manager.
You can't say that about a manager that has 2 La Ligas and 3 Champions Leagues in a row.
I can say that. I can say whatever I like.
That's outrageous. That's an outrageous statement.
That's fine. Look, we may have to change the thumbnail of this podcast back
That's
to
an
the one
outrageous
of me versus Scott. No, because being a manager is about the entire club, and like you said, he shifted the entire feeling and aura and just general well-being of that club.
Yeah, but then when it came to going on to that next step, he crumbled, and you can say it was the club signing Ronaldo or the club signing this, but United were tipped to go have a title challenge that season, to go on and do big things, and he completely crumbled. And that's just the fact.
Before all those signings were made, after that summer window, he had to completely reinvent his system.
He did.
And
he set the club up in a very specific way for a very specific thing, and it was ruined by bringing in Cristiano Ronaldo.
Exactly. We're talking about like Zinedine Zidane being the perfect, like for Real Madrid, he fits like a glove. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer fits a Fergie-esque United like a glove in his management style. I think they're more alike than you think in just the way they coach. I'm not saying Ole Gunnar Solskjaer even touches Fergie, but I think they're alike in many ways. So I think they're sort of arguing about like put Ole in that Real Madrid side and you can see similar results.
Yeah.
No.
Alfie?
No.
Yes.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does not win 3 Champions Leagues in a row managing Real Madrid.
Yeah, he does.
He doesn't even challenge. He doesn't even win a La Liga.
Alfie, you've got something to say?
I've got some breaking news actually from Sky Sports Germany about the manager.
Let's go.
After new talks today, FC Bayern Munich want to continue with Thomas Tuchel. Bayern are now working with Tuchel to reverse his dismissal from February 21st. Tuchel remains willing to stay at FC Bayern despite the turbulent past few weeks and public criticism.
Wow.
There we go.
That's really big.
We are recording this podcast at the right time. Thank you, Alfie, for the breaking news. Scott, I think his breaking news has come at a really good
yes,
time.
I agree.
My head's hot.
We're going to move on to the man who cost his club £30,000 every time he managed a game. Because did you know he doesn't have the correct licenses?
Doesn't he?
To coach.
Nah.
Oh, LA. Breaking news itself.
Breaking news.
We're
going to go on to Championship manager legend Will Still. He is on the market this summer. Now, I don't think anybody thinks he's going to walk into the Bayern Munich job because Thomas Tuchel is staying. But there are some other jobs out there for a coach like Will Still. And I think he did wonderfully well in France and is deserving of a chance at a bigger club. Like, let me give you an example. Kieran McKenna is currently in the headlines, not because he's done back-to-back promotions with Ipswich, but because he has apparently had talks with the Ineos boys. If, for whatever reason, Kieran McKenna is being groomed to leave Ipswich, I think that would be a perfect third job in the Premier League for Will Still.
I think those sort of clubs, I think sides like Ipswich, Brighton, Bologna, all of those sides have really been trusting in young, up-and-coming, inventive managers. And Will Still is one of them. And I think it's a really natural progression for these managers to make their names at smaller clubs like where Will Smith was in France, and to make the natural progression to a side like Bologna, to a side like Ipswich, to a side like Brighton. I think it just makes sense.
I think one club he could do really well at if Thomas Frank ends up leaving Brentford, I think it's Brentford.
Yeah.
Will Still at Brentford.
That's a really good shout. That's a really good shout. I think one of the three clubs that have been relegated, Sheffield United, Burnley, I think Burnley might keep company.
Burnley will sit with company.
Or whichever of the third one goes down. I think he would do really well in a Premier League to Championship transitioning club. I think he would go in there and probably pick a lot of heads up off the floor and lift the mood a little bit. I think he's got that kind of, I hate the word aura, but I think he's just got that kind of aura about him. Yeah, I think the future's bright for Will Still. I think he doesn't go into a really big job for obvious reasons, but I think there's probably a job out there for him this summer.
I agree.
Yeah.
Last on our list of available managers this summer is Paladino.
This was a really interesting name to me. So it was brought up to me and I was like, you know what, I'll have a little bit of a look. He's managing Monza and I've rewatched a couple of the games he's had at the moment, one against Genoa in particular. And to me, it encapsulates everything about him as a manager. They went 2-0 up playing some wonderful football. They went back to 2-2 and that his side had the mentality. They had the strength to win the game 3-2. And to me, he reminds me a little bit of like a baby Graham Potter, the way he manages. He's very flexible.
Graham Potter.
He is. It's people speak about him in the same way people spoke about Potter when his Brighton side really started to flourish. They speak like you could call him a baby Thiago Motta as well, in just sort of a young up and coming manager who plays attractive. You could say Pep-esque, but more of a disciple of Pep, as most young managers are these days. And I think his Monza side play really, really good football. I could see him going to Bologna to take over Thiago Motta. Again, that sort of natural progression.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
He's really quite wonderful, I feel.
Lastly, before we go, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, Jamie, but I would like from each of you, Alfie, you as well, your predictions on who gets the Italian jobs. Right? Bologna.
My knowledge of Italian football is shown here. Honestly,
I'd put
on the list.
I'm going Maurizio Sarri.
Yeah, I think he's probably the most. Yeah, because I think Sarri would take time out. To be honest, I can't see Sarri going straight into another job.
I think Sarri. Jamie.
I probably
my back.
I agree.
You never left.
Yeah,
I never leave.
I'm gonna go with Jamie said earlier. I'm just gonna go Paladino.
Yeah, I think for Bologna, I'd have Paladino. I think out of Napoli and AC Milan, I think Antonio Conte suits Napoli more, with Victor Osimhen for how many years he's going to be linked with that club, moving away from that club. So I still think he stays this summer. Conte loves a big man. I can see him being quite attracted to that. For AC Milan, you've got a toss-up of all the other coaches on the market. Just for the fun of it, I'm going to say Ruud van Nistelrooy.
That's a million years. I think Jose goes to AC.
I think Jose goes to Napoli.
I agree with Valet. I can more see Mourinho at AC Milan than I can see him at Napoli.
Yeah, I can more see Van Nistelrooy at Napoli, to be honest.
Can you?
I'd like
Yeah.
to see that. I would like to
Yeah.
see that.
Oh, imagine a Victor Osimhen coached by Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that would be quite a
Ooh.
fun thing to see. That.
Okay. Juve.
Probably go for Allegri again, though.
Can't be fired and hired at the same summer. Steve Cooper. Steve Cooper, anyone?
Steve Cooper.
Like Juventus,
Yeah.
him a bit of an upgrade, Nottingham Forest to Juventus.
I mean, another Italian, Roberto De Zerbi, if he does end up leaving Brighton.
No,
Yeah.
that is a good shout.
yeah, I think I agree.
I think of all the coaches that Juventus could get, I think he's probably the best. But as Juventus have shown in the recent insistence with Allegri, they don't always make the smartest manager decisions.
Yeah.
So it probably will be back to Allegri.
Okay. Well, Italian football is a mess for managers right now. Do not forget to subscribe to the Attacking Football Podcast. Press the button, like, and please give me all the Man United hate in the comments. Thank you very much, boys, for joining me. I'm so sorry that I made you miss the Man United game to come and do a silly podcast about managers. I'll see you guys next week.